impressive stuff, honestly, that the art team has put together. What sort of influence would you say were pulled into creating the art style and the appearance of this dungeon?
So this is a very pristine troll area. So we looked at a lot of the older troll like POIs that we had before, like Zolomon and Zul'Gurub, and a lot of those are in ruin. And we kind of said like, well, what do those look like if they weren't in ruin anymore? If they were very ornate, pretty. We think of like Mayan architecture, and we always refer to like El Dorado, the city of gold kind of thing.
That's really cool. Yeah, so it's kind of like previously, like you said, we've always seen things sort of in ruin. Like you think back to even the dungeon in Tanarus, the name of which is escaping me at this moment in time. Zul'Farrak, yes. And how that's just sort of like the sands have swept through and kind of eroded and destroyed everything. And now here we're seeing like, no, this is such a sacred place to the trolls that they've kept it pristine after all these years.
Yeah, the trolls are the oldest race on Azeroth, so they have a lot of civilizations that have risen and fallen, and this is one that's kind of still intact. And you'll see a lot of that in the expansion.
Awesome. Always up for a little bit more troll lore. Being, of course, a troll myself, even if not necessarily in-game. Definitely a troll IRL.
I'm disappointed.
So we're clearing through this area here with all these little dinosaurs. And we appear to be heading down some stairs here, going down to a lower section of the dungeon.
Yep, so the leader of the trolls that I mentioned earlier, Dazar, he had a mount that he rode into battle. And what better mount than a giant T-Rex?
Of course.
So that giant T-Rex was Razan, and his remains were left here. And when the corruption swept through this place, he was resurrected. And now we have an undead T-Rex, which is like twice as scary, right?
What's more scary than a T-Rex? How about an undead T-Rex with like an actual coffin attached to it?
Yeah. The art team did a really great job with this. We said, we want an undead T-Rex, like he's like mummified. And they're like, we got you. We don't need any other information. We'll figure this out. And they did a really great job.
We've been waiting for you to ask. Yeah, so it looks like he's got, as a T-Rex, obviously he's got a fear. Of course he's going to have a fear. Looks like there is, I'm not seeing any right this second, but looks like, oh, there we go. A couple of them are spawning in. Yeah, a couple of extra little undead, like raptors or something that are sneaking up on the tank. Wow, there's a lot of them sneaking up on the tank right there.
Yeah, so this whole kind of bone pit is filled with these little skeletons, or raptor skeletons, and if you ever walk over them or get near them, they resurrect. They've been disturbed and they start attacking you.
Looks like our hunter friend just got eaten by the T-Rex as well.
Yeah, so the boss has a bunch of mechanics that kind of try to reinforce that initial idea of there's these bone piles over the place that you don't want to disturb. So he has fears that can push you into them, and he fixates on a person and tries to chase them.
Okay, so you're kind of like, you're getting feared and you're trying to stay away from the bone piles normally in case you get feared into them, and you're also, if he fixates on you, you actually need to be running away from him and trying to avoid the bone piles on the ground.
Exactly, you have to run the gauntlet and not get eaten.
Excellent. So it seems that our group here has sort of got the gist of it at this point. We even see the tank breaking a fear proactively there. Very nicely done.
He's a good player.
Yeah. He seems to be standing in something there that may have been just a trinket effect or something.
I think he actually might have gotten eaten right there.
Oh, okay. And there we go.
Yeah. So that's the second boss of Ataldazar.
Cool. And now I believe, we're going to go ahead and head up back out of that bone pit area and start moving on to the third boss. And these first three bosses, they can be done in any order, right? There's no set order to them.
So we'll see this a little later on, but this first part of the dungeon is choose your own adventure, and then the temple starts to unlock kind of like Indiana Jones style. We had a lot of fun with that idea of like traps and different mechanisms that would activate as you progress through the dungeon.
Yeah, sort of like the Temple of Doom sort of a approach of what if there were just a bunch of traps and stuff in here and weird mechanisms to deal with. And I think we are going to see some of that here in just a second. Of course, we do have to clear through the rest of these little dinosaurs first. And now we can see even more of those defenders that you were talking about earlier, the living trolls that were left behind to keep the place sacred.
Yeah, so this is the first time the players are encountering these in the route that they took through the dungeon. So these are the sacred guard that were left behind to defend the tomb of the first king for all time. And here we get to see some of those traps that I was mentioning, like the temple is defending itself.
Yeah, big flame jets here. You have to sort of run the gauntlet through. Don't get too close.